First of all, you see the thumbnail. You see the thumbnail. Let me get my mic right. You see the thumbnail. We talking about wide receivers. We talking about fixing the wide receiver room for the New York Giants. I got the handy dandy notebook. It's full. It's full. It's full today. I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible. We're still very, very early on as far as the offseason goes. We're not even really in the offseason, but for the New York Giants, we are in the offseason. And so let's talk about first what happened with the wide receiver room. What happened? Let me get my mic right. What happened? So the New York Giants only have 4 wide receivers contracted for next year. Those 4 wide receivers is Darius Slayton. You got Wan'Dale Robinson. You got Jalen Hyatt, and you got Bryce Ford-Wheaton. Let's talk about Wan'Dale Robinson. I was so happy to see him flash and turn that flash into, hey, we might really have something here. That's how I feel about Wan'Dale Robinson. When I think about Darius Slayton, Old Faithful. You know, is not the best, definitely not the worst. Could he have even better numbers with better quarterback play? Possibly. You know, he led the team in receptions and yards and all this stuff. If he had real quality quarterback play, how good could Darius Slayton actually be? That's a good question. Let me know how you feel in the comments down below. Jalen Hyatt. You know how John Mara said we failed? You know how he said we failed Daniel Jones? No, we failed Jalen Hyatt. That's who we failed. We failed Jalen Hyatt. And it's a lot of blame to go around. You can point the finger to a lot of people. A lot of people when it comes to Jalen Hyatt. You saw that this man can get open. Pause. He just needs somebody to throw him the ball. It doesn't sound like a lot either. Just throw that man the ball. And please don't throw it short. I'd rather you try to outthrow him than to underthrow him. I'd rather it to be too long and he got to run it down because I think he can do that. I don't think there's any ball that he can't run down. But I think we failed that guy. And then Bryce Ford-Wheaton didn't really get a chance. Bryce Ford-Wheaton didn't get a chance. You know, we signed him as an undrafted free agent. He chose to come to the New York Giants when he was offered, a couple other teams offered him a contract. He chose to come to the New York Giants. He was at the bottom of the totem pole. Just when you thought he was putting in enough work, and it was more like, I don't want to cut this guy from the 53 because I don't want to lose a chance to develop this young guy. You can't teach 6'4", 220 pounds in the 4.3 40. You can't do that. So the New York Giants did what? Fortunately for the New York Giants, and it's not fortunate for him, he tears his ACL, and we have to wait and see what we have with Bryce Ford-Wheaton this upcoming, offseason, minicamp, training camp, stuff like that. And I don't know when actually he'll be back. I don't know. I haven't seen anything about his recovery time, if he's on track, if he's not on track, were there any setbacks, anything like that. I don't know. I just know that he's a talent that needs to be developed. But that's all we have on the roster. There is a guy, Coda, that we signed for a future contract, but come on. We already know what it is when it comes to some of these names. We don't know them. In most cases, they might be camp bodies. Not saying that Coda is a camp body, but I'm saying I don't know, really. I need to do more work. So I'm thinking about the free agents now, the guys that we're going to be losing. Paris Campbell, unfortunate again. I had high hopes for Paris Campbell. He was doing fantastic in minicamp, training camp. In those practices, the man was looking unguardable. We get into the season, lays a dud. Could that be the blame of the quarterback too? Let's talk about the wide receivers. Let's keep it there. And I got my notes. Gunnar Olszewski. I'm signing Gunnar Olszewski just because I feel comfortable when he's back there receiving the kickoff, receiving the punts. Before we got Gunnar, I was sweating every time that ball was in the air, praying that we wouldn't fumble it, praying somehow it won't be a muff. Once we got Gunnar, I felt comfortable again. And then, he got the 94-yard kick return. And here's the thing. I wanted to sign him back before he had that 94-yard kick return, just because of how comfortable I felt. Now, if you have someone that you can sign and develop and can give you what Gunnar Olszewski gave you as far as that security, not fearing every time the ball was in the air, then go ahead and do that. But right now, he won't cost you much. Go ahead and re-sign Gunnar Olszewski. Isaiah Hodgins. Now, this is going to be one of those ones where I'm just like, do I bank on what I saw the first year he was here? How much stock do I take in season 2 because of the bad quarterback play, a diminished role because of the resurgence of Wan'Dale Robinson, picking up Jalen Hyatt, those snaps, his snap count going down. What do I do with Isaiah Hodgins? Here's the thing with Isaiah Hodgins. He doesn't cost you any money. He knows the system. Why not have him on the team as your 5th, 6th wide receiver? He can play special teams. Why not have him as a 5th or 6th wide receiver on the squad? I think that's something that you can do. Now, and I want to send a shout out to Sterling Shepard. Not sure. People assume that Sterling Shepard is just going to retire. I don't know how much gas he thinks he has in the tank. I don't know if he said anything about retiring. I know he won't be a New York Giant going into the 2024 season. At least I don't expect that to happen. Stranger things can happen. But I don't think Sterling Shepard comes back. But does he retire? He seems like he has a lot of fire left, but does he have a lot more game left in those legs? So that's talking about the New York Giants that are on the roster, wide receivers that are on the roster, wide receivers that are hitting free agency. Now let's talk about the free agent market. When I think about this free agent market, yes, there are a couple of guys. Some of these guys probably won't even make it to free agency. They might get tagged. And when I look at some of the names, Gabe Davis, Marquise Brown, T. Higgins, Calvin Ridley, Michael Pittman, you might as well take those names. As a New York Giants fan, you might as well take those names and just wipe them away. They cost too much money. We have so many things to try to take care of. The only time you get a big name wide receiver in free agency is if you're like a wide receiver away from competing and going to the Super Bowl. Other than that, they got to be a young guy, and you got to feel like you're on your way, and this guy can get you over the hump type deal too. And still, look at some of these prices. And this is Spot Rack. This is Spot Rack with some of these market values. Gabe Davis, $13 million per. Marcus Brown, $15 million per. Calvin Ridley, $17 million per. T. Higgins, $18, almost $19 million per. And Michael Pittman Jr., $22 million per. You think the Giants can afford anything like that? Do you? You think Joe Schoen is going to spend that kind of money? We're down to $30-something million without the rookies. 20-something with the rookie contract or expected rookie contracts. And now you're talking about spending. No, you got Xavier McKinney that you're possibly going to try to sign. He'll test free agency and come back to see if we can match whatever deal he's getting. You're looking at the Andrew Thomas and the Dexter Lawrence contracts. Like those are the contracts that you look at that you want to try to move some money to create some more cap space. You don't want to touch Daniel Jones's contract. You got to let that one go. I don't think we're big players when it comes to the free agent wide receiver market. I don't think the New York Giants are making any kind of splashes. We can't afford to. And then if we got those guys, our situation is so volatile right now. Could we even make these wide receivers happy? And that's just sad to say. And especially when I'm still trying to figure out what I have in Jalen Hyatt, what I have in Wan'Dale Robinson, kind of sure what we have with Darius Slayton. Then you got Bryce for a week. Like the mystery game. I can't keep playing this game. But here's some intriguing names, and it's a very short list when it comes to free agency. I think about guys that are still young. Their production is not that high, but still some names that have made some plays in the past. And one name is going to be Quez Watkins. Again, I know. But he's a young guy. Not going to cost you a lot of money. Can add some value to this current roster. Another name is going to be Jalen Guyton. Big body wide receiver. Pretty much fell off the map. But he had flashed for a little bit in his, I believe that was his rookie year. So it's a lot of names when it comes to this wide receiver market going into free agency. But when it comes to the New York Giants, we're not playing ball on that court. That's the big boy court. We don't have the money to play on the big boy court right now. So where does that take me to? Drum roll, please. And we're already 9 minutes into this video. New York Giants have to address this wide receiver room in the draft. I said it about the tight ends. I said it about the running back. When you're broke, when your team is broke, you got no money, you got to address stuff in the draft. And this wide receiver class, I thought last year's wide receivers class was good. I thought the year before that, the wide receiver class was good. This wide receiver class, we're talking almost 3 rounds deep with quality, day one starters, contributors. At least you can go in the 3rd round and get yourself a contributor. Jalen Hyatt was a 3rd rounder, and he should have been contributing more. And you see his talent. But some of these guys, man, now I just want to break it down. Obviously, when it comes to the draft, and I don't want to make this a draft episode, right? Giants need to eyeball one of these quarterbacks, right? But there is a realistic chance that the New York Giants, 3 of those quarterbacks will not be there when we're picking at 6 if we don't move up. And when we're sitting at 6, you're looking at guys like possibly, because I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is gone. But at 6, you could possibly have a Malik Neighbors. You could possibly have a Rome Odunze. You can have those guys, a Keon Coleman. Those are some of those names where if you can't get that quarterback, one of those top 3 quarterbacks, and you're not comfortable enough with drafting Penix or McCarthy or Nick that high at 6, there's some wide receivers in those spots that are guaranteed contributors, especially starters when it comes to the New York Giants, and those are some of those names. And that's the 1st round. When I look at the 2nd round, so say we don't get a wide receiver in the 1st round, we get our quarterback, whatever we do in the 1st round, I'm going to name a couple of prospects in the first couple of rounds that the New York Giants could target and possibly get on this roster. Now, in the 2nd round, you got guys like Leggett from South Carolina. A lot of people comparing him to A.J. Brown. No, he's more like DK Metcalf. I understand why people think A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is pretty much, when both of those guys were coming out of college, people had A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf. Both of those guys were 2nd rounders. And you hope that every big body wide receiver that's fast can end up being one of those guys, right? And Xavier Leggett has that quality. Big body, super fast, run after the catch, contested catches. Xavier Leggett can do all of those things. And the only reason why I call him DK Metcalf instead of A.J. Brown is because of the skill set. When you look at Xavier Leggett, the man blew up on the scene this last year. It was sporadic years before that. This year, he straight up blew up, shot up the charts, right? When I think about the next name, and some people, when I say this name, there's no way he's making it to the 2nd round. And that's A.D. Mitchell. I already saw your face. I see you guys. A.D. Mitchell, right? I'm thinking with all the quarterbacks that can possibly go, and then you got your offensive linemen, you got your edge rushers, some cornerbacks. Some of these wide receivers are going to make it to the 2nd round. A.D. Mitchell is a bona fide ex-receiver. Day 1 starter for the New York Giants. You add that man to this wide receiver room, and you're on to some things. Can he make it, or will he make it to the 2nd round? And will he make it far enough for the New York Giants to be able to select him? I don't know, because he can go anywhere from 15 to and if he falls out of the 1st round, does he make it to 40? Maybe, possibly. I don't know. If he makes it to the 2nd round, it won't be for long though. So that's just a small chance for those 2 guys, Leggett and A.D. Mitchell. Now the sweet spot for me is going to be the 3rd round. A lot of talent in the 3rd round. A lot of wide receivers that are not household names. The people that are really getting down into the college sports, that really get down into the drafting and the prospect hunting and things like that. There's some names out there. You got Malachi Corley is one. Another name is Roman Wilson from Michigan. A lot of people know who Roman Wilson is. Those are 2 names that you can possibly get in the 3rd. And that's a nice sweet spot as far as value goes, because a lot of these guys will get pushed. A lot of these guys will get pushed. You got first rounders getting pushed into the second round, and then you have bona fide third rounders just being right there available that can even possibly get pushed into the fourth round. And you know what? I'm looking at my notes, and I'm glad I have my notes because I forgot about one person. And it's a lot of people from the chat, a lot of people from the spaces that are probably like, what are you doing? You didn't mention this guy's name. And it's going to be Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy could possibly be there in the second round as well. He's another name that could be a fringe first rounder to a second rounder. He could be pushed back further because of his size. Has all the talent in the world. Super fast, can run routes, contested catches as well. Good hands. I think the success of lighter framed wide receivers like a Tank Dell this year before he got hurt. Obviously Devontae Smith. You know, those smaller frame wide receivers. I think a guy like Xavier Worthy benefits from it. He benefits from these guys having success in the league despite their size. And Xavier Worthy is another guy that you can aim for in that second round too. That, you know what, it's just talented, and it's crazy how talented this wide receiver class is. But it really is, and it's probably one of the best ones we've seen in a long time. We can blame COVID for that. Man, but yeah, that's going to be the video, man. I want to talk about how we fix this wide receiver room, and because of the situation that we're in with the cap, you know, especially also the situation we are with the question marks at running back. You're not spending a lot of money on a big name wide receiver in free agency. At least I don't see that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I just don't see it. So like the trend of all these videos, these Fix the Giants offseason strategy videos that I've been doing, a lot of it has been, you know, we have to build through the draft. And I really do believe even if we did have a lot of money, you still have to build within these drafts. You have to create your farm and build it that way. That way you can have sustained success, you know, going throughout. You have to draft well. And the New York Giants can't come out of this draft without one or possibly even two wide receivers. Because even if you get into the later rounds, you got some good names out there too. You got was it the son of Musa Muhammad Jr.? It's some names going all the way. You got Jerry Rice's son is out there too. You have, what's the kid from North Carolina? Sheesh, I can't remember his name right now. I'm drawing a blank. You get the picture though. It's a lot of wide receivers in this class. There's a lot of talent in this class, and the New York Giants need to get at least one or two of these guys, especially with the wide receiver room looking the way that is looking, especially if you don't bring back a guy like Isaiah Hodgins. You definitely need to fill up your wide receiver room, you know, with some rookies, at least one or two, at least two guys. Hopefully we'll see what happens, because the New York Giants have a lot of holes. But that's going to be the video. I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. This video went a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but we're talking wide receivers, and everybody loves wide receivers. So again, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And for one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.